Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Today's story is going to take us over to England, where we will be reading from an abandoned station deep within Blackmoor Forest. But the injuries they suffered weren't consistent with any wild animal. It wasn't bear, boar, or even dog. The teeth marks were too human. What could have happened here? Well, the locals whispered about the beast of Blackmoor, a creature that walked like a man but hunted like a wolf. Disappointed, he turned back, deciding to make camp for the night. In the morning, he would come back, climb the tree and use it as a vantage point to spot game. His rifle was bent in half, his ammunition scattered across the ground. And surrounding the tent were hundreds of tiny pebbles that had been systematically arranged in a circle. But there was no sign of whatever had attacked him. There in the middle of the clearing where he had spent the night, the tent lay in shreds. But that wasn't what caught his eye. It was the dark figure standing amidst the trees. And while you're at it, make sure you hit that like button. If you like this creepypasta, check out my podcast. I publish episodes every Friday. Also, if you want to send me voice messages, you can do that now as well. Thank you to our Discord boosters. And thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time. It was humanoid in shape, yet animalistic in its stance. And as it turned toward him, he saw its face. It wasn't human, not entirely. It had a face, or rather it had the remnants of one. Its jaw had been torn clean off, revealing sharp, pointed teeth underneath. But it was the eyes that terrified him. They burned with an intelligence that shouldn't exist in the woods. With a snarl, the creature disappeared back into the trees. Had he imagined it all? Was he suffering from some sort of psychosis? And neither did the park rangers, who discovered his abandoned truck 2 days later. They found the journal with its disturbing entries and bite marks, but they never found the creature. Locals said it was still out there waiting, watching from the trees. And sometimes, when the wind dies down, you can still hear it howling. Not from the forest, from inside the abandoned ranger station. He started to pack up his things, but then he saw it, something amidst the pebbles. It was a small piece of paper, folded neatly. He unfolded it to reveal neat handwriting, a journal. And as he read the faded ink, his blood ran cold. As he set up camp, he heard the same twig snap. He whirled around, but this time saw nothing. Perhaps he was starting to lose his mind. Whoever had written it had been driven insane by the horrors of the forest. But there was more. The pages surrounding the last entry were filled with strange scribbles. Almost like the writer was trying to draw whatever had attacked them. But there was one thing that stood out, a single bite mark forcefully imprinted into the page. It was the exact shape and size of the mark left in the bark of trees throughout the forest. The hunter felt a chill crawl up his spine. He carefully folded the paper and tucked it into his pocket. He didn't want to stay another minute in the forest. Quickly packing up his things, he hurried toward his truck. Dismissing it, he finished setting up camp and settled in for the night. When search teams arrived on the scene, they only found more questions. Someone or something was trying to get in. Fear propelled him into action. He grabbed his rifle and fired blindly into the darkness. Then he heard a roar, an angry, guttural sound that sent shivers down his spine. Whatever it was out there, it wasn't human. There was no sign of a struggle. The couple had been dating since high school, inseparable. No one knew why they would end up in this isolated area of the forest. And with no witnesses, There was no way of knowing what had happened here. The case went cold after a few weeks, swept under the rug by the local police force. The press picked up the story, of course, but their attention span was short. And soon the only people who remembered Peter and Cheryl were the ghosts haunting Blackmoor Forest. But before we read today's story, make sure you hit that like button for more content. June 1976, park rangers found the body of a young couple torn apart in Blackmoor Forest. It was more like a sense of dread. But he pushed the feeling away, chalking it up to nerves. Then he heard it. A twig snapped close by. He turned, his rifle raised, and saw a dark figure slink away. It was a man. That much he could tell, even from a distance. But there was something off about him. The way he moved, the way he held himself. The man seemed to glide through the trees, silent and graceful. Our hunter thought he might be seeing things. Maybe it was the shadows playing tricks on him. Or maybe it was the start of whatever horror awaited him in Blackmoor Forest. October 1978, a hunter entered the forest. He lived on the outskirts of town, had done so his whole life. And he knew Blackmoor like the back of his hand. Still, he didn't venture into these parts. Most people didn't. This was where the trees grew tall and thick, where sunlight struggled to reach the forest floor, and where nothing ever came back from. But he had heard the stories, the legend of the beast of Blackmoor. To him, it was just a fairy tale. A fun little story to scare teenagers away from the woods. But he needed to be here. His prize buck had been spotted in these parts, and he planned to bring it down. As twilight bled into darkness, he felt a strange feeling creep up his spine. It wasn't fear, exactly. He continued on, determined to make his kill, only to find his path blocked by a fallen tree. But then he heard a knock. At first, it was gentle, almost hesitant. But it quickly turned aggressive, pounding against his tent. When morning arrived, he unzipped the tent to a horrific sight. It mimics voices. Last night it called for help in my wife's voice. It sounded so real. I couldn't resist answering. That was the last entry. As he drove away, he glanced back at the forest. That hunter never told anyone what he saw that day. So do you believe in the beast of Blackmoor? Let me know in the comments below.